Which one of the following pairs are vectors? Displacement and speed, acceleration and force, force and mass, distance and electric field. Remember, all our vectors that we need to know can be remembered using DAM, VW, FM. D is displacement, A is acceleration, M is momentum, V is velocity, W is weight, F is force, M is magnetic field, or any field. So if we're looking at these options and we want to figure out which of them are going to be vectors, the answer is going to be B, acceleration and force. 1.2. The diagram below shows a pot of weight 40 newtons suspended from point C by a rigid strut AC fixed to the wall at A and a light cord BC attached to the wall at B. Which one of the following statements about the forces acting on point C is correct? Now, since this is stationary, we can say that the system is in equilibrium, meaning that you can draw a triangle of forces here. So the strut is going to apply a force going to the right. The cord is going to have a tension force that's going to be pointing away. And on C, there's going to be gravity pointing down. Now, using those three, we can draw a triangle of forces that looks like this. And it's going to be a head to tail since it's in equilibrium. That's 90 degrees. So this is 40 newtons rather. So, and that's our force of gravity. This is going to be our tension, and that's going to be the strut. So let's look at the options. Option A, the vertical component of the tension in chord B is equal to 40 newtons upward. Okay, that could be an option, though let's go to the rest. The tension in chord B must be 40 newtons. So the tension in this chord BC, will it always be 40? Let's check. If we call this theta, right? Actually, I don't think we need to do that. See, the tension is the hypotenuse of this triangle. And the hypotenuse is always the longest side in any triangle. So the tension is going to be greater than 40. So it's not going to be 40. So this is out. C, the tension in BC is less than 40. That's out. It's going to be more than 40. D, the vector sum of the three forces acting on C must be 40. That's incorrect as well because it's got to be 0. So that means A is our answer. The vertical component of the tension in chord BC is equal to 40. And we can look at it like this. If we had to draw the components of the forces, there'll be a component going up and there'll be a component going to the left. The component going to the left is going to equal the strut, and the component going upward is going to equal the force of gravity that's 40. So the answer here is A. Question 1.3, two forces of magnitude 5 newtons and 7 newtons act on an object. Which one of the following resultant forces between the forces is incorrect? So here, if you want to figure out what's the maximum and minimum, always remember that the maximum of two forces will be the sum of the two. So 7 plus 5 is 12. And the minimum of the two forces will be the difference between the two. 7 and 5 having a difference of 2. And every force between them is going to be possible. So you'll have a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 12, and everything between there is going to be possible. So 2 will be possible, 9 will be possible, 11 will be possible, 13 will not be possible because that exists past our maximum. Now question 1.4, a satellite circles around the Earth at a height where the gravitational is a quarter of that of the Earth's surface. If the Earth's radius is r, the height of the satellite above the surface of the Earth is. So if we look at our formula, G, which is the force of gravity, or gravity rather, is equal to Gm over r squared. Now, if the gravity is a quarter, we can get here that the gravity is inversely proportional to the distance, or to r squared. So if the gravity decreased, it's now a quarter of the original. That means r must have increased. So by how much would it have increased? So we can do it like this. We can say, if this is my original, we can say a quarter g is equal to a quarter gm over r squared. Now let's multiply here and multiply there. So gm over 4r squared is a quarter g. Now what we can do is we can put this in the bracket, and by factorizing it rather, or putting it in the bracket, we can figure out what the actual distance is. So that's going to be gm over 2r all squared. So the distance went from r, it went to 2r. And they want to know what is the height above Earth. So it increased by r. So the answer is B.